Who's there? Hey, what the?
This is Phasmatis. I can't come to the phone right now, but leave a message after the beep. Despot probably has my phone bugged, so he may give me your message. Otherwise, I'll receive it when I get home.
We need to talk. The curfew was a good start, but with Deus Diablo gone, we're not going to be in charge of this city much longer. Report in at the new HQ when you hear this. I'll set some things in motion in the meantime. I'll see you there.
Will Phas have time to look for Deus? I think he's got more than enough on his hands fighting the riots and looting.
Phasmatis has some useful contacts. Last night in the bar, he was talking about contacting Trescon.
Fine, but we can't just sit around waiting for Phas to show up.
Oh dear God, I have pockets!
Back to your office, Gond. Slicer, go get that interview with the scientist who contacted us. It sounded like he had something important to tell us about World Corp's activities and the incident at Aunt Betty's Industries. If we're lucky, it has something to do with Deus. We also need to do something about the escalating cult wars. That conflict will blow wide open if they realize we've lost control.
Send Gand. Maybe the goat cult will abduct him.
Look guys, my pants are on fire!
No. Let that loon think he's running the place. We'll step up the firewall presence in the downtown sector until we can arrange for a more permanent solution to the cult problem.
What about DXL?
They're one of my primary suspects for the abduction. It's a toss-up between them and World Corp.
I've been probing their systems all day. I'll let you know if I make any progress.
Good. When Phas comes by, tell him I'll be in Saul's bar getting a drink and some advice from Alpha.
Yes?
I overheard Phasmatis and Cashew and Souls. They're calling in an old agent named Trescon.
That name sounds familiar.
I'll keep an eye on the checkpoints in the downtown district. I reckon the faster we take this newbie down, the less trouble he'll be.
No, don't kill him. I have a better idea.
Ah, there you are. I'm glad you made it here so quickly. This is quite important. My apartment is on the 4th floor on the right.
Ah, Trescon. Phasmatis is expecting you. Go right up. Beware of security, though. They haven't got much to do, so they tend to shoot at anything. Do you like the place? I had it done up a while ago.
Trescon, glad to see you made it.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. Every major street being locked off is a recent development, isn't it?
I'm sorry about that, it's part of the curfew. To limit the rioting, we locked off all the districts and put up guarded checkpoints at the barricades.
That's really necessary? It seems rather quiet out there.
That's because you haven't seen the bad districts. Even the West resident sector, the slums, is a day on the beach compared to some sectors. You can only access the 3 districts with subway stations at the moment. The corporate district, downtown and the slums. And those are all well patrolled.
Tell me what's happened.
It's bad, very bad. Deus Dabbler has been kidnapped, and with one of the moderators missing, this city's going to hell.
But you and Cashew are moderators too. Can't you handle it until DD is found?
No, what most people don't know is that Despot wouldn't trust his own mother to make him dinner. There's a safety measure, so we can't ban people without everybody agreeing. Without Deus, we can only try to correct their behaviour, and as soon as DxO finds out, they're gonna make my life hell.
Can't Despot do something?
Despot is impossible to contact. Something in his pants, I think.
Alright. Why am I here?
Find out who kidnapped Diablo and why. I got an anonymous email this morning. You can start by reading that. My login is Phasmatis, and my password is Antitheus. How you run your investigation is up to you. Just remember that you're here to find DD. I'd advise you to get someone influential to support you. You won't get to the bottom of this by yourself, and someone like King Cashew and the rest of the PDX gang can provide a lot of valuable help.
Just like the old days, eh?
Not at all. You'd have much more freedom this time.
But basically, I'd be working with the same people, doing the same stuff.
Trescon, nobody wants to employ you full-time. You can just work freelance for us. You help PDX, we help you.
I'll think about it.
Yes, do that. Pay a visit to Sol's Bar and Grill. It's just down the road. Perfect place to pick up general info. You should remember Alpha Operator from back in the PDX CIS days. Remember his old code name was Sol. He owns the bar now.
Yeah, I remember. I think it opened a few months before I left. He always said he'd buy a bar if he ever made it to retirement. I don't think I ever believed him.
You should probably equip yourself as soon as possible. Remember that the only place to load up around here is Raving's weapon shop. Your old guns are still locked up there. I hope you kept the password to the locker. Oh, and speaking of equipment, the safe in my bedroom contains an ore canister to help you on your way. It was confiscated at the checkpoint in the slums. The code is 3467.
Thanks a lot. That'll be useful.
You're welcome. I think I owe you a favor anyway.
I'll check back with you when I found something. Bye.
The cults would never do anything like this. Could it be King? Certainly it would fit his character, but why? I wish I knew where to find the DxO. I think I heard DD mumble something about a hideout once. Would never do anything like this. Could it be King? Certainly it would fit his character, but why? Could it be King? Certainly would fit his character, but why? DxO. I think I heard DD mumble something about the hideout once. I wish I knew where to find the DxO. I think I heard DD mumble something about the hideout once. The cults would never do anything like this. I wish I knew where to find the DxO. I think I heard DD mumble something about the hideout once.
Scott, long time no see. Come visit my office in the World Corp building as soon as you have time. I have some very important information for you. And quite a good offer, too, if you arrive on time. See you here, Trescott.
saw you got a PM from Skara. Whatever you do, Trescon, don't go to WorldCorp. Come to PDX and hear what I have to tell you first. You cannot trust Skara. Just don't listen to anything he tells you.
Hey, you want to buy something?
Who are you?
Named whoever. I'm a snack vendor.
What an uninspired name.
What can I say? That guy was taken.
Right.
So, what can I help you with?
Why on earth are you open at this ungodly hour?
Meh, I'm a night person. And I have a permit to stay open outside of business hours. You'd be surprised how many people are up this time of day.
I probably wouldn't.
Point well taken.
I'll be on my way now.
Alright, nice meeting you. Bye.
Trest, Cashew wants to make sure you're still up to scratch. He's asked me to give you a test to see if you're still as good as you used to be. After all, 2 years is a lot of time to get rusty in, right? We don't want to get you killed. Here's the deal. To leave this district, you have to use the subway. Problem is, the subway company stopped selling day passes some time ago, and a monthly pass costs 1,000 credits. Now, while we could just give you the money, this should be an excellent opportunity to brush up on your skills. Your test will be to gather 1,000 credits for the subway. To be frank, if you aren't resourceful enough to do this, you'll be in no condition to handle the assignments we're planning to give you. Good luck.
Cool. Cool.
Is there a problem?
Monitoring further activity. Monitoring sector. Server uplink unstable. Proxy settings changed to port 223. Status report.
I assume...
cult wars are horrible.
I swear I've seen the statue before somewhere.
Dialogue protocols initiated. Super user Phasmatis has requested that all permissions to execute the task cleanup noob.gang be granted to user Trescon. Reward credits equals 500 will be transferred to the user upon successful completion of the task. Permissions set and updated. Monitoring user Trescon.
I've already killed 7 members of the Noobs gang. I think that's all there was. Can I have my reward?
Unexpected input. Processing. Input rejected. User Master Kale still appears in active members list as present in downtown sector.
Oh, I have to get rid of him too. Do you know where he is?
Task properties. The gang leader is known to hang around the theme restaurant Elga's Kraut Castle near the subway.
Alright, be right back.
What a horrible day!
Notification. Active members list displays the neutralization of leader and all 7 reported now to user group gang noobs. Return to nearest firewall. Agent, report debriefing.
Right, I finished the task. Where's my reward?
Input confirmed and verified. Reward credits equals 500. Transfer to user Trescon. Task archived and deleted from cache.
You're welcome. Thanks for the money.
Just me or...
In the name of Oon!
Holy shit!
Damnation, he passed out. I told you he...
Oh no! At last!
is this?
Hey, relax. I didn't do this to him. I was checking out some condemned buildings on the street and I found this guy. He's wearing a llama uniform, so I decided to bring him here.
Good work. He seems to be alive. Just leave him on the ground until he wakes up. Maybe that'll teach him to be more careful in the future.
Yeah, no problem. How about a token of your gratitude? A little finder's fee, perhaps?
Here's your money. 380 credits. My entire allocated hostage rescue budget for the month of September.
You have a budget for that?
Of course. Abduction is a favorite strategy of the goats. But don't tell our scouts.
Alright, that'll do. May I enter the temple?
You may not. Now please go about your business and leave me to my duties.
Hey, if you want to join up, you should talk to Beefman.
Haven't I seen you before? Aren't you the guy who failed the moderator nominations a couple of years back?
Is that freedom? Who am I, and why am I here? A good question full of depth and meaning.
Never mind.
Goodbye. If you...
All right.
You seem familiar. Weren't you nominated for mod?
Hey, you look kind of like a retired super spy.
I do?
No. How retired are you, though? Retired enough to do me a favor?
I'm kind of preoccupied right now.
I can pay you. I got 350 credits on me.
What do you propose?
I was evicted last week for playing loud music, but I forgot to clean out my room in the basement. Most of the stuff I was keeping down there is junk, but there's one thing I really need to get back. An old painting. I inherited it from my grandmother.
Why don't you go get it then?
Because the guards are psychopaths. Don't know if you've ever been to the apartment building in question. Phasmatis, the moderator, lives there too. But the guards are so bored, they'll shoot anything. If I even get near there, they'll say I'm a trespasser and pop me.
Huh. So you need me to steal your painting from them?
What? No, there's no stealing involved. It's my painting. They just won't let me have it back.
Okay, I'll do it.
Great. Do you know where it is?
Yeah, the apartment building where Phasmatis lives. I just came from there.
Cool. Good luck. I'll wait for you here.
Walton Simons? What the hell are you doing in a bookstore? Don't you try anything, you got that? I'm heavily armed.
Eh? Oh, you must be mistaking me for Walton Simons. I am simply Walton Simons.
Huh?
See the caps? My name isn't capitalized. That's because I'm the guru, the pseudo-minister of true lies, bearer of flaming eyes, Simon's avatar. The caps are for the other Simons, okay?
Oh, I see. Well, no, actually, I don't, but whatever. So what are you doing in this bookshop?
This is the fan fiction shop. It's a bookstore set up by Chris and I. Most of the books are written by the denizens of Forum City, although we also have a comprehensive Deus Ex section for fanfiction reference material.
So you must know quite a bit about Deus Ex, eh?
Yes.
What's the other Walton Simons doing in FEMA? What is FEMA, anyway?
Well, first of all, Page bribed a senator by putting him on the priority list for receiving the influenza vaccine. That got Simons into FEMA.
Ah, yes. That's what they talk about in the intro.
FEMA stands for Federal Emergency Management Agency. FEMA handles every kind of natural and unnatural disaster that threatens the USA. Of particular interest is RX-84, FEMA's National Emergency Plan. Once the President declares a national emergency, 6 million specially selected Americans will be transported to detention centers. Government leaders are moved to Mount Weather or to any of the 45 other secret bases hidden around the US of A. FEMA takes control of all cars, trucks, buses, trains, planes, telephones, radio stations, TV stations, newspapers, and so on. Oh, by the way, did I mention that constitutional rights can be suspended?
Marvelous. Sort of reminds me of the Patriot Act.
Sometimes DX just comes painfully close to reality.
I was wondering what the Upper West Side bombing was all about.
Well, some terrorists bombed something, and this finally pushed Congress to pass the grid zoning laws. The grid zoning laws allowed police to wall off certain sections of the city and restrict travel. Reminds me of Escape from New York. Some say that the Upper West Side was bombed on purpose just to pass the law. By whom? Probably MJ-12.
Sounds likely. Could you tell me what the Order of the Cincinnati is?
Although only mentioned once in a book in Deus Ex, the Order of the Cincinnati are quite interesting. Created in 1783 by George Washington, the Order of the Cincinnati was a military force designed to overthrow the US government if democracy failed. They had the power to temporarily suspend the Constitution when needed. They hide under the guise of being formed to recognize those who had served in the Revolution. Washington resigned as president after only 2 terms in office, but remained president of the Order of the Cincinnati till his death. The Order still exists to this day.
Yeah, if you believe that kind of crap.
Of course, but in Deus Ex, everything you read on paranoid websites is absolutely true.
Tell me about the AIs.
I now have full access to your systems. Icarus is one scary dude. He's a copy of Daedalus, just modified for loyalty. MJ-12 didn't want this one to get away. Icarus uses his echelon powers to the fullest, tracking JC every step of the way. Everett was only able to defend JC and Daedalus for a couple days until Icarus could break through, and do who knows what to JC and Daedalus's minds. A particularly good scene happens with Icarus in Paris right before the catacombs. Just try answering a phone in an office building.
Sounds cool. I'll have to try that once. How about Daedalus?
Deep in Mount Weather, Daedalus was brewing. It was Echelon 4 and MJ-12's solution to the amount of uncensorable information flowing through Internet 3. MJ-12 was having particular difficulty in content recognition, so they decided on creating an AI that could decide for itself what to censor and alert MJ-12 about. Unfortunately, right away, a pattern-matching error occurred within Daedalus, and they classified MJ-12 and the Illuminati as terrorist groups themselves, and escaped onto the internet. In a sense, a blip of Daedalus's code is on every computer terminal and device on Internet 3. That's how Daedalus's architecture works. He isn't concentrated into one clump of code. Instead, he becomes the internet, in a way.
I would have loved to be there to see the faces of those MJ-12 people when Daedalus categorized them as terrorists and ditched them. So where does Morpheus fit into all this?
God was a dream of good government. Morpheus is cool, very insightful, and a prototype for Daedalus. He was built by Everett, whose heuristics language allows Morpheus to convey the highest and most succinct tier of any pyramidal construct of knowledge. Everett still uses Morpheus to spy on people, but Morpheus is trapped in Everett's systems. He can view the internet, and that's all unlike the other AIs. Everett also seems to use Morpheus to entertain guests with Morpheus's profiles on themselves. Morpheus also supplies what I think to be one of the best conversations in the game.
Yeah, that conversation is really good. No doubt about that.
As for the other AIs, you'll have to ask Chris.
There are other AIs? Oh yeah, I guess we're missing Helios. But I didn't know there were more. Guess I'll have to ask him about those. Well, I really must get going. I have important business to attend elsewhere.
Okay, bye. Come back soon, we're open 24/7. Let's see, the book on mechanical augmentation goes by the tutorial guide to Sam Carter's Lake. That's it.
I want to ask you some questions.
Of course. I'll always help one on the way to enlightenment. Was that too cliché?
Tell me about the security clearances.
I can tell you that they are based on angels and that there are at least 9 of them. If there is a 10th, which is subject to debate, it is God clearance.
Angels?
Yes, the clearances are based on the model of angelic hierarchy that is most accepted today. That is what allowed us to fill in the gaps.
What gaps?
Well, the clearances we know are Angel OA, Archangel 1B, Principal 2C, Domination 5F, Throne 6G, Seraphic 8X. That means that clearances 3, 4, and 7 are missing.
What does it look like with the gaps filled in?
Angel OA, Archangel 1B, Principal 2C, Power 3D, Virtue 4E, Domination 5F, Throne 6G, Cherub 7H, Seraphic 8X.
Who made up the model?
Well, a guy named Dionysus did, based on stuff from the Bible. More importantly to the game is the fact that Aquinas backed him up.
You mentioned God clearance?
2 times in the game, God clearance is mentioned. It refers to a clearance for things involving life and death. One would assume that it is the highest clearance of all since it fits perfectly with the angelic model. God is of course above all the angels and knows things that even the highest angels do not. Some claim that it is metaphorical, but I disagree. Neither time sounds to me like a metaphor. Both sound like statements of fact. The fact that it is just called God clearance and not God followed by a number-letter combination makes sense. God clearance is self-explanatory. You don't need anyone to tell you that it is at the top. Further, the change in style is not unprecedented. If it had been like the other, Seraphic 8X would have been Seraphic 8I. The question some people ask is who would have God clearance? The answer is difficult to say. Certainly Page does, and of course Walton Simons, but who else? Well, if you have to have God clearance to know about the kill switch, you've got to figure that Manderley has it. However, doctors and scientists know about the kill switch, so we must assume that some people, whose jobs require it, know about it without God clearance. If Manderley was in charge of activating the kill switch, he might be allowed to know, even if he does not have that clearance.
Tell me about the angels themselves.
Angels are the furthest from God. Their tasks include watching over individual people and being the messengers of both God and the more important angels. An archangel is just the next step up from angel. They manage the angels and lead them into battle against the bad guys.
I thought archangels were the most important angels.
Archangel is a very old term and has 2 different meanings. Basically, in the old days, people only divided angelic beings into 2 categories, angels and archangels. The archangels were the ones on top. When people decided to make a more specific hierarchy, the 9-order one presented here, those that were previously called archangels were put into other categories.
Ah, okay. Go on.
Principalities rule over those already mentioned, defend religion in general, and watch over groups of people, towns, cities, and nations, for example. That is the end of the lowest circle, or triad. Powers are the lowliest of the 2nd circle, yet they get one of the most dangerous jobs. They are the ones charged with maintaining the border between heaven and earth, getting souls into heaven safely, and guarding against demonic attack. Virtues maintain the natural world, making sure that the moon doesn't fall out of the sky and it doesn't snow in the Sahara. Other stuff like that as well. As such, it seems natural to assume that their job is to uphold the laws of physics. In addition to that, they are the ones who take orders from the higher-ups and make miracles. The Dominations are the guys who watch over the bottom 2 triads and take orders from the top. They make sure nothing goes wrong and generally stay out of sight of mortals. They are the end of the 2nd triad.
Okay, let me hear about the last one.
Thrones are primarily concerned with moving God around. They are actually the chariot of God. I still have yet to find out why God needs a chariot. Why he needs a living one is even more lost on me. On the other hand, they do occasionally do other work. They are the ones who deal out God's judgment. The cherubs are second only to the seraphs, and they have a couple of jobs. One is that they steer the thrones. Apparently, God doesn't just need a living chariot, he needs someone else to drive it. They also personally handle the most important stuff. For example, throwing man out of the Garden of Eden and then keeping him out with a flaming sword that can be turned all ways. In addition, the cherubs also have the knowledge of God, and they are not the damned stupid-looking fat babies on greeting cards and paintings. They are either described as sphinx-like creatures or the angels on the Ark of the Covenant. The seraphs are the closest to God. Depending on who you listen to, there are either 4 or 7 of them. Other than giving orders to other angels, all they do is sit around God. They will not shut up. They constantly repeat the same word. Holy.
What does this have to do with Deus Ex again?
Not much. It's only really the order that matters. Angels are the lowest and seraphs the highest.
Let me ask you something else. Tell me about the state of the world.
The world is a big place. What do you want to know about?
I'll take Africa and Australia for 300, Chris.
Africa was hit hard and is only at the start of the game pulling out. The fact that their population has been hit so hard made it very difficult to keep killing each other. As a result, they have managed to start working together. That, combined with the fact that MJ12 controls the continent, has made them an Eden of business opportunity and technology. There's also a strong Asian population in Africa, mostly people who got the hell out of Hong Kong. New Hong Kong in Lagos is one of the continent's most active, screwed up, and successful cities. It has also managed to avoid MJ12 control.
And down under?
Australia managed to avoid it all.
Bloody kangaroos.
That's the benefit of being the only country on your continent, and the only continent not connected to any others. Well, only reasonably inhabited one at any rate. They have avoided the plagues, they have avoided the economic crashes, they have avoided the conspiracies, they have avoided everything but the threat of civil war between the English-descended and Aborigines.
Tell me about Europe and Asia then.
There is surprisingly little to tell about Europe. As it always has been, Europe is populated by people who hate each other. As a result, the fact that MJ12 controls all of the government there has not given them the control you'd expect. They control the government, they control the economy, but they can't make everyone get along. Eastern Europe is still torn by civil war, as it seems it always will be.
Okay. So how about Asia? Anything interesting happen over there?
Well, it finally happened. India and Pakistan fired nukes at each other. It was this, combined with the collapse of India's economy, that made them join China. Quite simply, India needed the money. They were the ones hit hardest by the plagues, and they simply had no choice but to join China if they wanted to survive the diseases. Other countries in Southeast Asia gave in as well, trading their freedom for medical supplies. China, under the control of MJ12, was essentially untouched by the events of the rest of the world and, after finally pulling its act together, managed to become the major world power. However, it still cannot control its own cities. Hong Kong remains free, and even though the forces of both the Chinese government and MJ12 are against them, they remain free to pursue business ventures of all manner of illegalness. Japan is still pulling out of an economic crash and, though free of MJ12, is fairly useless. Russia is, like South America, controlled by crime bosses, not MJ12. They are too fragmented to launch an organized attack on anyone, but with the help of Mexico, they were able to launch a semi-successful, disorganized attack on Texas, one of the most divided states in the U.S.
Alright, let me hear about North and South America.
North America seems to be about two things, Mexico and the U.S. Whatever Canada is doing, they haven't made a fuss. Perhaps they're plotting to take over the world like we always thought they were. Maybe they're just laying low to stay out of the shit when it hits the fan. Maybe they're doing highly evil stuff. We just don't know.
I always figured they were busy keeping the polar bears in their place.
Right south of Canada, though, problems came. The U.S. was hit hard by plagues, various things of antibiotic-resistant nature. Doctors have feared that such might happen for a while, and apparently they were right to. The plagues killed millions, and then AIDS came back in force. We aren't given details on exactly what happened, but all it had to do was make it into the breeding population unnoticed for a generation or two. Then when it came out, it could shatter the world. Finally, things seemed to be looking up. A cure for AIDS was found. That same year, the West Coast fell into the ocean. Kind of a big thing, that. Must have been a huge deal. I wonder how it happened exactly. I mean, it's not like stuff can just sink. Even with higher sea levels, you've still got the problem of the ground beneath it holding it up. Must have been a huge event. Dealing with the West Coast was killing the U.S. economically. Bankruptcy was a very real possibility, and the rest of the country was getting ignored. Severely. So severely, in fact, that 1 year after the quake, Utah left the Union. Under the 10th Amendment to the Constitution, any power not granted to the national government is given to the states or the people. Thus, secession is totally legal, as the federal government was not given the power to remove states from the Union. The Civil War should demonstrate that the federal government doesn't give up states just because of its constitutional right of the state to leave. After Utah said it was out, various others decided to jump ship too. However, unlike Utah, these are described as fringe groups, implying that they did not have popular support. Nonetheless, a war went on to take back Texas, Utah, and those lands controlled by the NSF, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming. The war succeeded in both keeping the states in the Union and making people realize just how crippled the U.S. was. Enter Mexico. The Russo-Mexican Alliance announced that it was going to take back Texas, which, by all rights, was stolen from them. The thing is that if you wait 200 years to take back land, it's pretty obvious that you're just being a jerk. America was so weakened by all that had already happened that by the time of the game, the Russo-Mexican Alliance controls much of southern Texas, and the battle line is just south of Austin. The secessionist groups have regrouped and organized into one large group called the NSF. They're known as the National, not Northwest, Secessionist Forces. All in all, everything is going to hell.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff happening in 50 years. How about South America?
Most of South America has been run by MJ-12 for ages, but only on the surface. The truth is that the drug lords are in control and the government switch regularly. Whether it is a civil war or an election doesn't seem to really matter. Most people's lives don't change at all. Actually, the Deus Ex Bible implies that there is something more going on. Well, it says that MJ-12 does not have control. It says that it seems like someone does. If someone, not MJ-12, is ruling behind the scenes, it means that there is a conspiracy group that did not make it into the game. Unfortunately, we have absolutely no information on this.
That's all I wanted to know about the world situation. Let me ask you something else. Tell me about the AIs.
An AI is an artificial intelligence, more specifically an electronic sentience. It is important to note the difference. If you use the actual definition of artificial intelligence, the Greys qualify, but the Oracle doesn't. Artificial just means something created by man, and intelligence is intelligence. So technically, anything genetically engineered that is intelligent is artificial intelligence, whereas an electronic entity that gains sentience without the help of man would not be an AI. In the game, and indeed the world, the term AI is used to mean electronic sentience. The game employs about 6 electronic sentient entities. I say about 6 because one was cut, but it is possible that it still played an important role in the backstory, meaning it is twice removed from the game. I can tell you about that one, as well as Helios and the Oracle. Walton specializes in the 3 remaining AIs. So, what do you want to know?
Why can't you tell me about the others?
When Walton and I started this shop all those somethings ago, we knew that people would come in here asking about artificial intelligence as it appears in Deus Ex. In the game, there are 5 AIs. 5 is a prime number. It can't be divided. Thus, we were left with a problem. However, in the removed plot, there is a 6th. In addition to being a first-degree non-prime, 6 has another thing going for it. One of its factors is 2. As there were 2 of us, we each decided to specialize in 3 of the AIs. Walton is the person to ask when talking about Icarus, Daedalus, and Morpheus.
Okay, so let me ask you about one of the AIs you can tell me about.
Of course. Which one?
Helios.
Helios is an AI who was created in a rather odd and uncontrolled way. He is a combination of Daedalus, a rogue AI, and Icarus, a later version of Daedalus designed to obey. If you want to know about those AIs, or their prototype Morpheus, you should ask Walton Simons.
Nah, tell me more about Helios.
Helios is the name of a Greek god. However, it gets confusing after that because the Greek gods were sort of amorphous in nature. It seems that this particular incarnation of this particular god was very special. He wasn't just a sun god like Apollo. He was the personification of the sun itself. Obviously, as a god who was the sun, he had a lot going for him. After all, Apollo, a mere god of the sun, was also god of prophecy. Helios was considered all-seeing, so that's probably why the name was chosen. Deus Ex's Helios had 2 important functions. For one thing, Page wanted a surveillance system that was better than that provided by Icarus. Secondly, and perhaps more importantly to Page personally, was that Page wanted to become the Supreme Enlightened One. To become this person, Page planned to merge with Helios. Because Helios saw and knew everything, no one could be more enlightened.
Tell me more.
Helios believes that ambition is the cause of human struggles, read wars, which he considers inane. In his mind, lack of ambition is what generates a good leader. Actually, this view is not new, but the problem is that anyone who lacks ambition cannot achieve power. Douglas Adams solved this in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by having a man who only wanted to be left alone rule the entire universe. Helios would appear to be a fan of the guide. He believes that no human being who can get themselves put in charge should have power, and he believes that there should be someone in charge. His solution is to put himself, who is not a human being, in charge. He seems to think that a benevolent dictatorship is the key to a better world, but that this totalitarian dictator must be someone lacking ambition. Again, him. He sees democratic governments as crude solutions to the problem of human beings' inability to govern themselves. This too is nothing new. The old saying is that democracy is the worst form of government except for all others that have ever been created. Once more, his solution is to place himself in charge as he is, a more advanced solution to the problem, a decision-making system that does not involve organic beings. Human beings are unfit to govern, singularly or in groups, and he is fit to govern. Helios is also connected to Morpheus' prophecies. Morpheus talks about the future a lot. He's a simple AI, if something as complex as an AI can be said to be simple. But he acts like a prophet. He says various things of value, especially when you take the Helios ending into account. One of the most interesting things he says is about the unplanned organism versus the planned one, but we don't need to go into that if you don't want to.
No, I want to hear.
Morpheus distinguishes between the unplanned organism, which he says is a question asked by nature and answered by death, and the planned organism, which he defines as the offspring of knowledge and imagination rather than of individuals. As such, it is hard to classify Helios. He is the offspring of individuals, Daedalus and Icarus, but they are the offspring of knowledge and imagination, and what they were was not lost when he was created. Thus he is both planned and unplanned. It is difficult to understand the question of Helios or the answer, but it is obvious that the simple answer of death is not the answer of Helios.
Okay. Well, what was this you said about his connection to Morpheus' prophecies?
The human organism always worships. First it was the gods, then it was fame, the observation and judgment of others. Next it will be the self-aware systems that you have built to truly realize omnipresent observation and judgment. Helios is such a self-aware system, and if JC merges with him, he will fill the vacancy that God was once thought to fill as ruler of the entire planet. Morpheus also said, God was a dream of good government. In that case, Helios fulfills that dream, effectively becoming God.
How did Helios take control of the world?
Aquinas controls the power grid, the stock markets, the internet at large, and various other things. What's more, all but a few satellites are run through MJ-12, and thus Area 51. Radio stations, phones, newspapers, and even that tabloid, the Midnight Sun, all belong to MJ-12, meaning that they are run through or controlled remotely by Area 51. Helios controls most of Area 51, and after he merges with JC, he'll take the rest of it. That means he can shut down the power to his enemies, and he can also stop them from communicating. Even more powerful is the fact that Aquinas has a flaw in it that allows emails to be edited in addition to monitored. Helios can misdirect and confuse the enemy. He can stop scattered forces from organizing a resistance, or he can trick groups into believing they are resisting him when they are really working for him. Of course, this is speculation in the future. We don't know that he would do that. We just know that he could. What he did during the game was messing with the power, cutting power to the government buildings, and simply giving out orders. He ordered the police to open the streets, and they did. He also locked the door to a triad compound. With these few actions, he took over Hong Kong. What strategies he would use once he knew how human beings thought is unknown.
Okay. Let me ask something else. Tell me about the Illuminati.
The Illuminati have been around for ages, but they keep on dying off and being reborn. The most recent time they were reborn, they had the name the Ancient Illuminated Seers of Bavaria. As that is a bit of a mouthful, they are called the Illuminati for short. This incarnation was founded by Adam Weishaupt as a subsect of the Freemasons. They were promptly killed off, such is life. Rumors say that they survived. In fact, not only did they survive, they went on to rule the world from the shadows. In the world of Deus Ex, not only is this true, but they were also founded in the United States a wee bit later. In the US, they were revived by Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson's love of freedom implies that he might have been planning to use the order to ensure personal freedom, rather than control people. A shadow organization is only bad if used for unpleasant purposes. Regardless, they built up power using their influence over religion, gained by the Priory of Zion and control of China, and over over politics, gained by organizations like, but predating, the Trilateral Commission in the UN. What was more, they controlled almost all terrorism. Altogether they were going strong, a revolution here or there, and all was well. Come the 1950s, they realized that fewer people cared about religion, and politics wasn't going to control everything either. As a result, they decided to move into the arenas of capitalism and technology.
Priory of Zion?
Ask me tomorrow. I don't have any material prepared on that topic right now. I need to brush up on my...
Alright.
Thus was MJ-12 born, as well as the Bilderberg Group. In reverse order, though. MJ-12 was to deal with technology of all sorts, medical, informational, whatever. Echelon was already in the works, and they jumped on. The Bilderbergs were meant to deal with money, and so they did. With control of the rich, the World Bank, and the U.S. Federal Reserve, in the area of money they were doing great. The UN was coming into power, all was on its way. But then disaster hit. The US went into rapid decline and the Illuminati decided to let it fall. Unfortunately for them, the US recovered. Now they had lost the control they had. The situation in the US caused non-sponsored terrorism to rise, and dissension inside the organization began. MJ-12 thought the Illuminati had gone weak. They were pissed at how the US was handled, and they took over. Thus ended the Illuminati.
When were the Illuminati formed?
That's iffy. Dowd says that they date back to the Order of Assassins, which is from 1090. But he also says that the Order didn't really survive, it was just continually reborn. The most recent rebirth appears to have been May 1st, 1776 in Bavaria, because, though we are told that Jefferson founded an American version a little later, it is based in Europe.
So who were the leaders of the Illuminati?
Well, it is never explicitly stated. We figure they were Bob Page, Beth Duclair, Morgan Everett, Stanton Dowd, and Lucius de Beers. Or were at some point. Lucius declined before Page took power, so there's probably another on the Council of Five before Page forced them into hiding.
How do those 5 people control the world?
They don't. Not strictly. They control the Priory of Zion, which gives them sway over the largest religion on Earth, Christianity. They control the UN, which gives them control over a lot of politics. They control China, which is a lot right there. They rigged US elections before the quake. They controlled the economy, and their surveillance was second only to perfection. Nonetheless, their power wasn't exactly absolute. The Soviet Union collapsed, and that was one of theirs.
How were they overthrown in the end, then?
Page was quick. That is really all we know. The general dissatisfaction with the Illuminati was touched off by the reaction to the events of 2030. By 2035, the Illuminati had lost almost everything.
Okay. Tell me.
Of course.
The Oracle.
The Oracle is the 5th AI. Everyone who plays the game knows about Daedalus, Icarus, and Helios, and most know of Morpheus, but quite a few never noticed the emails with the cryptic return address, Rosie Cross. These emails were sent by the Internet Oracle.
Yeah, but what is it?
The Oracle is an AI that pretends to be a society of people exchanging information based on the old Usenet Oracle, but serious rather than funny. The Oracle was not made by people and thus does not have a purpose assigned to it. Its only goal is information and understanding. The Oracle was created when the Internet itself, or some subset of it, became aware of its own existence.
Tell me more about the Oracle.
Well, the way people use it is the same as the way the Usenet Oracle worked. Submit a question, get an answer in exchange for answering questions yourself. There is an important difference. Instead of the Oracle priesthood sifting through the questions and answers looking for the most humorous of both, you now have an AI doing the sifting, trying to sort out the truth. The Oracle's origins are rather peculiar. They say if you have an infinite amount of monkeys at an infinite amount of typewriters, one will eventually bang out Hamlet. Apparently, if you have a bunch of idiots at a bunch of computers, one will inadvertently create an AI.
Oh, come on. That's a load of bull.
The simple answer is, we don't know. We can only speculate. My first guess was that it was originally a translator program. Translating from one language to another is still impossible by computer. Yes, you can create a word-for-word literal translation, but this isn't really good at all. Words don't mean the same things always. For example, in English the phrase sleep with often means have sex with. A literal translation might not convey that meaning. In the end, the only way for a computer to accurately translate from one language to another is for it to understand the language. Understanding is all that is required to learn. The problem is that if that was the case, the Oracle would be created, which we were told it wasn't. Until someone comes up with a compelling theory, I guess we're left to assume that it happened either by chance or divine intervention, just like the start of life on this planet.
What is the Oracle? What is it really?
Morpheus said, the unplanned organism is a question asked by nature and answered by death. The Oracle is an unplanned organism, but he also said that JC was the offspring of knowledge and imagination, and that was the important thing about being engineered. As a child of the net and an embodiment of the net, the Oracle is in essence a product solely of knowledge and imagination. All knowledge posted on the unencrypted net, every email, every news post, every crazy theory went into the creation of the Oracle. Further, the third function of the net, after pornography and the exchange of knowledge, is the exchange of ideas, feelings, stories, thoughts, in short, imagination. The Oracle is the unplanned organism, but it is also the product of knowledge and imagination. It is a question asked not by nature, but by the internet itself. And what is the internet but an extension of the intellectual properties of mankind?
Wow, that's really fucked up.
The Oracle is a question, but it isn't the same one asked by nature. It is asked by people, the human organism as a whole. It is the question that drives us, the question that defines us, the question that all human endeavor works to solve. No, it isn't what is the Matrix. It is why. Why are we here? Why do we feel the way we do? Why is the world screwed up? Why? Anything a human does is either the result of the why we try to find or an attempt to answer that why. We all strive towards the answer because we feel it will give us purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. The Oracle is that question, and everything it does is an attempt to answer it. To this end, it hoards information, lots of it. It researches everything from secret government products to favorite colors. It is trying to gain human understanding, and, if it does, it will finally answer the question of why.
That makes no sense.
What can I say? It's the best I can do.
Okay. Let me ask something else. Tell me about...
Of course.
The one they removed.
The removed AI is known as Ada. Ada is an AI that lives on the moon. She wanted to become benevolent dictator of Earth. Before the moon base was cut out of the game, JC was going to go there to stop her.
So if she was cut along with the moon level, how do you know about her?
Ada was mentioned as a footnote in the Deus Ex Bible. The footnote said, note, the Deus Ex 1 design included a mission to a space station, followed by a mission to the moon base. The objective was to stop Ada, an AI that wanted to become benevolent world dictator. Obviously, some of that content was folded back into the game in a slightly different way. Obviously, that isn't the most informative thing. Helios wanted to become dictator, so I assume that was the folding back in. But Helios was going to use Aquinas. Ada had no such tool.
What can you tell me about Ada?
That depends on whether you want fact or theory.
Fact.
That I can't tell you anything else. The footnote is the only piece of solid fact we have to go by. Fact in the sense that it comes straight from the development team of Deus Ex.
Alright. Then let me hear what theories you have about Ada.
Okay. First, I have some theories about her creation. Ada was on the moon. One would assume that she was at the only moon base we are told exists. It is owned by the Chinese government, and the machinery was built by McMoran Global Steel. McMoran is a rival of Page Industries to the point that Page went so far as to attempt a hostile takeover. The fact that Page fails means McMoran has a lot of power. Now, say for a moment that someone were to come up to McMoran and tell them that Page had the most advanced AI in existence. In fact, as far as they know, the only one in existence. Wouldn't McMoran want it? Of course, who could know that? And more importantly, who could help them make it? Well, in the intro, Page says that MJ-12's electronic sentience is far superior to X-51's, but in the game we never see X-51's electronic sentience. Where did it go? The answer to that question could explain another important question about X-51. Where did they get the money for Vandenberg? If X-51 approached McMoran with a proposal to sell them an electronic sentience stolen from Page, they might be given enough money to buy Vandenberg. That would explain a lot about X-51 and Ada. As for why she's on the moon, I've got an idea on that. The moon is a place that will be hard to spy on.
You make a good point. I wish some of this had made it into the game, at least in the form of some data cube text or something. But I do wonder, what were Ada's plans?
The moon base is a mining complex. They shoot the shipments back to Earth with something called a mass driver. The first time it was used, the shipment crashed into a populated area, Ibadan, Nigeria. Even though it impacted on the outskirts, it killed over 2,000, perhaps quite a bit over. There's really no way to know what happened. Was it an error? That's what we're told, but seldom is what we're told correct. That was an odd sentence. It might have been an MJ-12 plot, at once discrediting McMorrin, who built the mass driver, and giving the UN access to Nigeria, which houses one of the few remaining pockets of freedom. It might have been an act of the Chinese government, which was arguing the moon rights with Nigeria. This relates to Ada in a very simple way. The mass driver is something that can shoot death out of the sky. She might have been able to rule the world just by threatening to destroy any city that opposed her. After a dozen or two cities, Earth might well surrender to her rule.
Alright, I gotta get going.
Goodbye. Did you ever ask what it was for? The moderators? The ban on site laws? Is that freedom?
SD is a good llama, but I wish it put some more effort into staying out of trouble.
What was that?
Great. I see you've got enough money for a monthly pass now. It's good to see you're still in fine trim, Trest. Hope you didn't mind all of the test. Just buy a subway pass from the vending machine at the station, and then take the train to the corporate district and meet up with Cashew.
Have you got it?
Yep, there you are.
My dear old grandmother's precious painting. Thank you, sir. You've done me a great favor today.
You're welcome. Could I have the money, please?
Yes, of course. Here you go. 350 credits just like we agreed on.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Am I behind a desk right now? No, I'm...
Hello, and welcome to Soul's Bar and Grill.
Well, hello. Who's around tonight?
Well, there's me, of course, and Alpha, our bartender, and the regulars like Kunio-kun.
Who's Kunio-kun?
Oh, he's this guy from Naked Game, but someone converted him to 32-bit format and gave him a full 3D model. Now he does retail at the bar. Not sure if what he sells is exactly legal, but it's better not to ask.
Interesting.
If you want some advice, though, stay away from that Griffin woman. Oh, she's not at all nice.
Griffin? Kylie Griffin?
You know her? I hope I didn't offend you. I just...
Don't worry about it. What did you say your name was?
Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Jackie, a bouncer for Alpha. Well, actually, more like a door woman. There's rarely any kind of trouble here.
I'm Trescon. It's a pleasure to meet you, Jackie, and thanks for the tips.
You're welcome. Go right on in and have a good time. Hey, you can't go in there. Will you please get out of the security room?
So you're new around.
You...
Oh, no, I mean...
So you know...
Yeah, I worked with him.
Sweet. It's great meeting you. Any friend of Alpha is a friend of mine. And to answer your question, I wouldn't really consider myself new. I've been around about a year and a half, got the job maybe after a month, but I've pretty much been working at Souls since I arrived.
How'd you get it?
Oh, this job? I was in the right place at the right time. There was a bar fight involving a bunch of newbies. The poor guys were being flamed by some morons. Troglodytes, really. I took out half of those tards in no time, but the others fled the bar. Not a bad move, if you ask me. Well, anyway, all that earned me an impressive rep with some extra clout. And you could say the job just sort of fell in my lap.
I'll steer well clear of you then.
Don't worry. You seem like a nice enough guy.
So what can you tell me about this bar? I remember how proud he was when he opened it. He even offered me a job. I think it was a few months before I left. Maybe less.
We've had a good amount of success. We're able to turn a nice profit each year, which is usually distributed among the employees or used to expand our stock. Also, we started serving real food when the kitchen was built, about a half a year ago. It's not open this late, but most people still come here to talk to Alpha or drink. We even have a fair amount of businessmen in the lounge, but if most of them visit the party zone, it's because it's more conveniently located.
Party zone doesn't give you too much competition?
Nah. This establishment attracts a lot of different folks. The party zone gets most of the suits and clubbers, but we get a wider variety of people from the apartment complex. Plus, all the veterans and moderators too hang out at our bar because we were here first, and everyone knows Alpha.
All the moderators come here? Even King Cashew?
Especially Cashew. He's a cool guy. Comes here whenever the pressures of politics start getting to him. I think Alpha and him are pretty tight. AO's sort of like an advisor to KK, and he's in the papers a lot because he's really knowledgeable of politics.
Alright, thanks for the chat. I'm afraid I need to get going.
Sure.
Restaurant. I am still waiting for you to get down here and see me, and time is wasting. If you're so poor you can't afford a subway pass, then go to that trashy apartment building you met Phasmatis at. A former employee of mine has formulated some sort of nonsense plan that ends with you getting a free subway pass. So hurry the hell up and get one.
Trescott! My god, is it really you? How long's it been? 2 years? That's an age to run tap for. How have you been?
I've been good, thanks. It's great to see you again, AO.
What have you been up to all this time? And why did you leave?
Alpha, I never wanted to be a moderator. I had no ambitions to be anything but a regular citizen. And I was just getting used to my life as a civilian after the PDX CIS was shut down. The thought of getting back into the business just didn't appeal to me at the time. I was actually pretty satisfied with no longer being responsible for the fates of thousands of people every day.
I have huge respect for that. You should know that. Most people would kill for a moderator position, and it really speaks for a person's personal integrity if he's man enough to realise when he's not ready to assume that kind of responsibility. Most people wouldn't even realise that being a mod is such a huge responsibility.
I'm glad you understand. And I see nothing in particular has happened around here anyway, huh?
You kidding? Loads of stuff's happened around here since you left. DXO and PDX are basically in open war with each other. WorldCorp has grown huge since Jonas Weber left, and recently they took over Aunt Betty Industries, and the excavations of DXI have been closed down because of some accidents. Also, 2 religious cults have surfaced. No one knows much about them except the members. They sure aren't talking.
Sounds like I have some catching up to do.
You can ask me anything, anytime. I've nothing better to do than stand around here and answer people's questions anyway. For an old friend like you, I have many answers. Don't be afraid to ask if you need me.
Thanks. I'll remember that.
So, is there anything I can help you with?
Nothing.
Got the report back from the firewalls about the noobs, and I'm impressed. You really made an example of this gang. I've got to warn you though, Cashew doesn't like casualties. You're lucky I was in charge of this mission, but you should go and see Cashew now. He'll be eager to welcome you back to the city and size you up.
Excuse me, could you help me with something?
Hey, you're Trescott, right? I'm Zero Hero. Pleased to meet you.
Yeah, me too. Could you tell me the way to PDX and WorldCorp?
Sure. I think PDX moved their HQ to the old GIT. It's on your right when leaving the station. WorldCorp is to the left. Huge and intimidating building. Very difficult to miss.
Alright, thanks a lot.
I can draw you a map if you want.
What, right now?
Sure. I got this napkin I can drop a quick map on if you don't mind a bit of shoddy artwork.
Yeah, sure.
Alright, let's see. That street from down there. Across here. A little bit of a turn. And that one goes a bit longer, I think. About here, isn't it? And then Ravings is down here. Well, you mustn't forget King's Tower, even if the reception is closed this time of day. Right, I think that's it. Here you go.
Wow, thanks. This is, really great.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Yes?
Trescon here. I have an appointment with King Cashew.
Of course, come right in. I'm Chrissy, the receptionist. It's an honor to meet you. I've seen your record from the CIS days, and I was very impressed.
I hope I can live up to your expectations then. Could you tell me the way to King Cashew's office?
Of course, that's my job. The elevator is down the hall to your right, second door you find. You need to ride the elevator up to the second floor and make a left down the curved hall. Just follow the hall until you can't go any further and then make another left. That'll take you through another curved hall to Cashew's office. You can go right in, he's expecting you.
Thank you. I say, this place looks rather messy. What's going on?
Wow, you're so perceptive. We just moved here. The old administration building was destroyed by a terrorist attack a few days ago. It's all been real fast. Phasmatis managed to get this building for us almost immediately. Used to belong to some construction company called GITM.
The building was blown up?
Yeah, we aren't very popular with those DxO people. I'm not sure why they want to kill us all, but luckily only Cashew was in the building when it happened. And he's invincible because he's a moderator, so nobody was hurt.
Well, that does explain the mess.
Things aren't working very well around here yet. Everybody's still settling in and setting up their stuff. This place isn't exactly perfect. We had to install Jonas's lab in a sort of leisure room, and the armory was set up in the ladies' room after we removed all the plumbing. People are complaining a lot, but I do my best to keep things together.
It looks like you're doing a great job of it too. Well, it's been a pleasure meeting you, Chrissy.
Yeah, it was a pleasure meeting you too. I'll see you later. Don't be a stranger.
Evil invasion, I presume.
Exactly as it says on the sign. Welcome back, Trescott.
You're still the resident hacker, eh?
I'm a programmer. I just hack when I need to.
Huh. I think this is the first office of a program I've ever visited without expensive hardware laying around the floor among pizza boxes and empty cans of pop.
Sorry, but I just moved in. Give me a few days. Then this place will live up to all your prejudices.
Your job is to take care of the servers that run this place?
Not really. The servers are somewhere else in an entire complex dedicated to that kind of thing. I actually work on the newspaper.
Why would a programmer work on a newspaper?
Nobody else wants the job, and I rather like it. Gives me plenty of time to code on the side.
What exactly do you code?
A bit of this and a bit of that. Whatever strikes my fancy. I have a few different programs under development, such as an updated augmentation management system.
You finished anything lately?
Yeah, the last thing I finished was a new version of that old private messaging system. You may remember that we couldn't send you images back in the old days. Well, now we can, among other things. I have some far more interesting things in the works. But you'll have to wait and see when I finish them.
What can you tell me about the other people here?
What do you mean? Don't you know everybody? Well, except what? Diablo, Jonas, and Chrissy?
I haven't been here in 2 years. Nobody's doing the same thing they did back when I knew them.
Well, most people actually do the same thing. They just do it for the PDX now. The Moderator Corp has taken over most all the old PDX CIS jobs, and sometimes they need me to do some hacking and such. Winkerman is handling the armoring, and Cashew is still bossing people around.
And Faz?
Yeah, of course. Faz used to call the shots in the PDX CIS, but now he's more of a policeman. Before Dee Dee was abducted, he used to patrol the city and keep an eye on what was happening in the street. After the city was locked down, he's been busy commanding the firewalls around.
Huh, okay. And this Jonas fellow?
He's not really working with us, he's just sort of affiliated. He would be a mad genius if not for the fact he was presumably perfectly sane. Only, really impossible to be around. He's a lot like Scar in many ways. He's definitely a control freak. Probably a megalomaniac if he got the chance. But don't tell him that. I hate being the subject of his reaction.
I gather he makes augmentations.
Yeah, that's the arrangement. We give him protection and finance his lab. He gives us the benefits of his research. It works out nicely that way.
Thanks for the info.
All right.
It's been quite a while. What have you been up to all this time? Cooking moose kebabs over a polar bear dung fire?
I'll have you know that moose kebabs are a healthy part of any diet. You wanted to talk to me? Oration monkey?
Yes. I'm glad you chose to come here before visiting Skara. If I were you, I'd stay far away from that man. He's dangerous.
Before we get down to business, I'd like some compensation for that ludicrous ticket price.
Of course. I imagine you're a little short on funds right now. Will 500 suffice? Unfortunately, we're a little short on credits these days, so this goes out of my own pocket. This should be enough for a few nice things from the weapon shop.
That'll have to do then.
I hope you didn't mind the test we put you through. We just needed to be absolutely sure you're still in shape.
I'm in better shape than ever, and I assure you, I'm ready to get to the bottom of this case.
Before I tell you anything else, we need you to take care of a problem for us. I don't know if you're aware of what's going on at WorldCorp.
What do you mean, specifically?
Well, it's a touchy situation. Apparently those llamas sent a bunch of their members to WorldCorp to spray paint the toilets. They all got out, except one of them. A member called Silver Dragon. He's pinned down by security people in the basement. That's all we know at the moment. If you could help Silver Dragon escape, we can turn our attention to more important matters.
Why do you want me to get this Silver Dragon out? He's affiliated with PDX?
Not exactly, but our reason is twofold. First of all, Silver Dragon is a veteran of the community. We wouldn't like to see him harmed.
Especially not by WorldCorp, I gather.
Especially not by WorldCorp. Second of all, and most important to you, Silver sent me a PM requesting our help and offering in return to give us an important piece of evidence in the Deus Diablo case. I can't promise he's not bluffing, but I think it's worth investigating. Don't you?
If there's a chance Silver Dragon may have information that can lead us to find Deus, we have to act on that.
Thank you. Good luck with your investigation.
Move it, pal.
It's just piling up.
I am deeply disappointed that you chose to visit PDX before you came to me, Treknon. I don't know what sort of communist propaganda they've been filling you with, but you must come talk to me now. Believe me, I'll make you an offer you can't refuse.
Ah! Oh my god, I thought you were Gant. Don't you ever do that again.
Hello! Welcome to Raving's Weapons Shop. I am Andreas, the one and only sales assistant, and pretty damn good at it, if I do say so myself.
Hi.
So, what can I do for you, sir?
I'm here to empty my locker.
Ah, yes. What's your name?
Trescon.
Wait, the Trescon? Trescon the ex-agent? Trescon who saved Raving's life once?
It was hardly an epic act of heroics, more of coincidence.
Don't be modest. That's a waste of time. Say I got something for you. If you're a friend of Raving's, you're a friend of mine. And if you saved his life, you're an even greater friend of mine.
You have something for me? Why do I already get the feeling that this is going to be slightly illegal?
Illegal? Shh, no way. Not a very lot. Well...
Alright, what do you got?
A napalm launcher.
Let me guess. Experimental?
Extremely. Not any less dangerous, though. I've been having a bit of fun with it on the firing range.
What's the price tag?
Because it's you, 1,000 credits, and that's cutting my own throat.
I'll remember your offer, but for now, I'll just get my stuff from that locker.
You do that. Your locker is the second one from the right in the middle row on the side facing the door.
Thank you. I'll be back if I decide to buy that nape.